Throughout the semester, we have worked on several projects related to the topic of leadership. In our class lesson project, we talked about how self-awareness is an attribute that many great leaders possess and the character traits that are covered as part of being self-aware, which include personality, values, habits, emotions, needs, and others. In our leadership research project, we examine how the theories of leadership have changed throughout the course of history. We examine how leadership was seen in the past, and we examine how leadership is seen nowadays and the outcomes of social awareness and social movements. We took a closer look at modern day professional athletes and how some of them are using their platform to make a change. Another project that we worked on was on our leader interview. We had the great privilege of interviewing a successful businessman, John Duffield, who has ran his own accounting firm for 15 years. Through this interview, we were able to dig deeper into how his experience with leadership in the business world came about and how he is able to lead his business through diverse situations and circumstances. The question, what makes a leader, is not a question with a simple one-sentence response. What makes a leader to one person may be different from what another person considers to be a leader. What a leader was considered to be back then is very much different than what a leader can be or look like today. No matter the different opinions on leadership, the latest research on leadership has placed a great emphasis on self-awareness. Research suggests that when an individual exercises self-awareness, that individual is more confident and creative. That individual is more likely to make sounder decisions, build stronger relationships, and communicate more effectively.
Inspirational leaders of our past, like Jackie Robinson and Martin Luther King Jr., emerged from our past culture's injustice to create change. Their role as a leader didn't start off easily. The needs of society weren't met, and their passion and strong emotional intelligence helped them ignite the social movements they historically created. Martin Luther King Jr. was self-aware of his position when he took a stand, and he knew it would come with loads of backlash and be a struggle, but it was his empathy that motivated him to protest and make this change. Jackie Robinson, on the other hand, is a story of self-control. He started off in the baseball league with hatred from numerous fans that he handled exceptionally well. With his self-control and emotional maturity, he became a respected world-class example of self-regulation. These people were tested by society and acted in a very mature manner that created a spotlight for their leadership paths to follow.
Colin Kaepernick has recently been known for his off-the-field presence rather than on it due to the fact that he has become a prevalent civil rights activist. In doing so, Colin Kaepernick has been out of the National Football League for more than a season, and it also appears that his protests may continue to affect his football career. Sacrificing his existence on a football field in order to fuel a cause that he believes in has turned him into the modern civil rights activist that many would argue is well needed even in this day and age. Like him or not, Kaepernick is seen as a leader of sorts and is very self-aware of the situation that he has found himself in. This kind of leadership is not seen very often, and it can make a heavy impact on the world as we see it. Colin Kaepernick has set the tone for many social movements with his leadership, as well as his sacrifice, and this has created a pathway for many other social leaders of the likes of LeBron James. These athletes both use their prominent platforms in society to build and progress a social movement that has very powerful meaning and importance, and has paved the way for endless possibility. It definitely will be interesting to see how the movements created by leaders such as these two will impact the world and form new leaders.
Developing leadership skills is not an easy task. To see how one develops leadership skills, we look at Goleman's 5 components of emotional intelligence. The first component being self-awareness. Self-awareness is when a leader understands his or her own emotions. The next component is self-regulation. Self-regulation is when a leader knows how to regulate these emotions and how they portray them to those around. The third component is motivation. Motivation is the driving force for the leader to achieve their goal. The fourth component is empathy. Empathy allows the leader to build relations to those around them. The fifth and final component are social skills. Social skills are what the leader uses in order to bring those around them to achieve their common goal. A leader that is very well known for this is Martin Luther King Jr. He understood his own emotions and how to regulate them. He was motivated by the civil rights movement. He used empathy to connect to those around him and used his social skills to demonstrate peaceful protests in order to further the civil rights movement. Thank
The
you.
workplace is changing more now than it ever has before. We are looking at the possibility of replacing workers with robotics. These jobs that they will replace will consist of more simple and repetitive tasks. As we focus on leadership in the future, should we be afraid of losing our jobs to machines? The answer is no. We should be motivated to work harder because human beings have certain skills that robotics will never have. We will use the social aspect of business to keep control of our jobs and futures. Let's think about sales, for example. We can form relationships with our customers. Most people won't be as comfortable forming these relationships with robotics because they will not be able to interpret human emotions as well as we would. We recognize signs of interest and dissatisfaction. We can use these hints to execute the sale, while a machine might not understand the needs of the customer, making it a lot harder to close the deal. They are programmed for one specific duty: sell the product. We can adapt for the customer's needs. We as leaders need to take this into consideration while we enter this new era. We still have the upper hand with our social and leadership skills, so let's use them to our advantage.